Today's Cyber Nuggets is titled 4,388 Bookmarks and Counting. Don't worry, I'll gladly clarify or explain what on earth this session is about. So I'm actually, it's a very, such a random concept, a web browser, specifically Google Chrome, bookmarks. But for me, this is a topic near and dear to my heart, and as I walk through explaining why, I think it'll be very, very clear. So, I mean, I've been using, honestly, Google Chrome as my primary web browser really since I started my career in IT, let alone in cyber. So I created and modified and probably have spent, if someone from above could do time spent, Chelin's time spent on administering his bookmarks and bookmark structure, it may be an insane amount of time, but that's just how it goes. So what I'll do first is I will walk through the surface level folder structure, and in some cases I will go deeper into the space in an ordered fashion. So work is obviously one's current primary employer within the workspace. I'm obviously not going to show it. You have your various client-specific resources. You have your various work specific folder structures. The client's cyber-related content versus timesheets, the more administration side of things outside of that. Then I have the IT-SOC folder, which I will actually for last because I don't know how deep I should go in there, but I think I will spend more time on in this folder than the others. The VSOC, yeah, so I'm in the space of cyber where I've dabbled in the traditional IT security, the emerging technology IoT or vehicle security. In this case, VSOC doesn't stand for Virtual Security Operations Center, but it actually stands for Vehicle Security Operations Center. So I've got, over 2 years of experience running a VSOC, and then obviously emerging tech, operational technology folder. Here we have in brackets W, close brackets, in brackets year, and here we have H in brackets, year in brackets. Well, this is actually where the majority of the bookmarks lie. Let me just click right in. What you see here is a bookmark structure split between the bookmarks for work at the time, at the year, whatever employer I'm at, whatever month of the year, um, you can see. And that's work-related bookmarks. Over here, we have the non-work related bookmarks. Again, similar structure every month of the year for several years. What I've inadvertently done here is I've, through bookmarks, snapshotted my my previous day-to-days from the past, even in ex-employers. It brings back memories. It brings back good times, memories from juicy, notable incidents from employer X back in 2020. And to give like an example of that, I will just randomly pick a year and pick a month, and I'll see where I am. So work work 2022 May. Okay, not a problem giving away my previous employer before my current employer. This was me getting to know the built-in HP security because I dealt with a help desk ticket because a user received upon boot up some error code. I'm not familiar with HP Wolf security, so I went on that learning journey already back in the day, having a look see at what's again from the past. The SC100, the beta version of Microsoft Security Architect was about. CrowdStrike had a couple clients where we provided CrowdStrike, had one client um, which dabbled in Cisco, the Cisco tool suite, and there's some trending vulnerabilities at the time. 1 year in the past, previous employer, Bookmarks. It really takes me down cyber memory lane. Good times. The other folder we have is the study folder. Just a little glimpse of what the most active uh, study goals are for me, can kind of be gleaned here. Resources, as someone who's really gamified cyber certification hunting, I've really, mapped out pretty much just about every certification vendor out there. Google Docs, self-explanatory. Spain, non-work related resources, and other is truly non-work related resources from other perspective. An example could be like Earth Health, as an example, tracking what's happening with the sun and earthquakes and the Schumann resonance. I digress. I think the star of the show by far is going to be the IT-SOC folder structure. Similar to what I built here, taking a snapshot glimpse of my past, I did the same on my cybersecurity investigation and analysis resource journey. And that's pretty much what this is. Investigations from the past saw me going many layers deeper than whatever the surface level expectation was. As a junior R1 analyst, good times doing in-depth browser forensics based on infected browser extensions, specifically on Chrome. And as you go on that journey, you uncover some quality resources along the way. Same can be said for email analysis. By far, what I believe to be the best email email header analyzer out there. What else? Decryption, some of those pesky encrypted malware variants needing to be decrypted in the trusty CyberChef. But again, take it one step further. Here's a collection of like over 100 different CyberChef recipes that have worked for this researcher in the past. Reduce, reuse, recycle is what came to mind on that one. What else? yeah, there's just a lot going on. IP reputation, again, depending on what awaits me. I want to clarify, be it a true positive or false positive, a possible incident. These resources will add context, enrichment over and above all the default capabilities that that client would have granted me access to. I think the key theme of being resourceful really stands through here. Um, what else? Mo analysis, all of the various living of the land types that are out there, so much so that there is living off the land farm at this point, which is basically a collection of all the all of the living off the land types. Malware analysis, again, you know, I'm not a malware analyst, but if you let that investigation steer you and you're open to learning, you're open to growing and understanding and expanding your horizons and your knowledge base, then you dabble down into these spaces. Obviously, I don't do this on a work machine. Um, this is my out of work dabbling in isolated virtual machines. And then also, obviously, we go into the different operating system variants, live malware samples you can source from here. Deep analysis is self-explanatory for the real one layer deeper than the surface layer, bookmarks and resources, outlier cases, and investigations demanding that or requiring that. Mm, yeah, the folders are self-explanatory. WordPress, when you go down that malware, dropping a or weaponizing a compromised WordPress website, you can sometimes over and above just knowing the URL, you can leverage these other sources or resources to gather some additional layers of context. Through this, you can potentially identify the compromised or underpatched WordPress plugin or theme. This is a pretty good one. These resources are invaluable from a detection logic standpoint. It's really beautiful stuff. And obviously, there's a prioritized order here, and right at the top we have the cyber news, the go-to bleeping computer and hacker news. I must mention these are only my article entry points, so they find the articles, you know, monitoring the vendors, but from there, from within that article, always navigate to the source vendor websites because it's got a much more in-depth, deeper, technical, IOC-rich article compared to the surface level article. Malpedia is a really, really great resource. Um, you basically search for a malware variant. In there, it's going to show you all the other, also known as variant names. It's going to show you the latest articles about that malware variant, so you don't have to do the heavy lifting from a threat intelligence perspective. Also actively have a three-way rotation tracking recently breached organizations. Go to is ransomware live, then ransom look, and then ransom ward. And that's pretty much it. Um, yeah, I hope this inspires and motivates some folks to incorporate this really in-depth, methodical bookmarking folder and resource structure because I think it makes a massive difference. You know, again, when you eat, sleep, and breathe cyber, sometimes I'm able just to go back here, think back to my previous employer where I was, think back to the month, and source a useful URL from the past almost immediately and bring it back into my day-to-day. Like, for example, here we have Citrix, ACD exploits, NetScaler vulnerabilities. I mean, that's a hard, still actively exploited, not the same CVE, but the resource could be of value for reuse or knowledge recap. Emotes here. Yeah, old school. Anyway, that's all for today's session. Thank you.